Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually made yesterday a first impressions video of the Deviant Moon Tarot deck that I received a few days ago, and then while I was trying to clear up some space on my phone, I managed to delete it. So it was a 20-minute video with like 10 minutes of editing or whatever that I didn't get around to uploading to YouTube, which is now gone and I can't retrieve for any reason. For some reason even. So yeah, so then I swore a little bit, walked away from it, and decided today that I would come back and make another video. But I'm not going to do a first impressions video because obviously these are no longer my first impressions because I flipped through the deck yesterday. So really I'm just going to do a like flip through the deck so that for those who haven't seen it before, you can see it if you'd like to. I don't know how many of you have seen my 31 Days of Tarot video where we did our top 5 decks on our wish list. Deviant Moon Tarot was one of mine. I wasn't actually going to buy it this month because I'd said in a video not that long ago that because I'd got 2 tarot decks gifted to me in February, I didn't really feel like I needed to buy any more in March, and that March I would probably get an Oracle deck instead. But then somebody posted on a Facebook group, and I cannot remember which one, to say that Amazon UK had dropped the price of the borderless edition, and they had dropped it to about £15. So I thought, you know, it's kind of a sign to just go ahead and get it now. I knew I was going to get it before the end of the year because it was on my wish list. It was on one of the 5 decks that was top of my wish list that I do plan to buy this year anyway. So, and I don't know how long the price is going to stay dropped. It may be that it's dropped forever, or it may be that it was a short-term thing and it's going to go back up. So rather than take the risk, I just bought it. So it is a borderless edition that I have by Patrick Valenza. It's a tuck box. It's a US Games tuck box. I hate tuck boxes because I just break them, but I will probably either make a bag or you know, crochet a pouch, or maybe even attempt to sew my own bag with my sewing machine that doesn't get enough use, or I may even just buy one. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but it will definitely get different storage at some point. So the side of the box says, stylized characters and moonlight dreamscapes draw you into the luminescent world of Deviant Moon Tarot. This special borderless edition highlights Patrick Valenza's stunning artwork and allows readers to connect more deeply with the evocative tarot imagery. Now I have to admit, this is a deck that I never ever thought I would buy. I like dark and creepy. I like, you know, I like my horror. I like things that are a little bit outside the norm. I like all of that kind of stuff. But if you've seen any of the decks that I have, tarot decks that I currently have in my collection, that's not normally my style for tarot decks. Normally my style for tarot decks is a lot lighter, it's a lot softer, it's generally a lot more, I guess, on the light side of things than the dark side of things. And I think Deviant Moon Tarot is definitely more on the dark side of things. But I've seen some amazing reviews of it. I've seen, you know, one of the things I mentioned the first time I filmed this, which I will mention again, is that really the deciding factor for me, or the final deciding factor for me, was Lisa at Supportive Tarot used it for a week and talked very, very highly of it in her weekly wrap-up where she does her decks for the week video. And I think, me and her have quite similar tastes a lot of the time when it comes to tarot decks. When I see the decks that she likes and the decks that she talks about and the kind of decks that she owns and the art style that she likes, I think they're very similar. So that kind of made me sit up and pay attention and think, well, you know, maybe I'm not giving it a fair chance. And if I got the deck and I actually tried to work with it, I would find myself pleasantly surprised by it. So that's kind of the plan. So we'll see how it goes when I do get around to me working with it. It won't be next month. It may not. It may be the month after. I don't know. But if I really don't get on with it, then I will give it away or I will sell it. It's not a problem. So it comes with a normal little white book, and there's not a huge amount of information. So there's a bit about the artist, the creator, a little bit about the creation process, and then it goes straight into the cards. And there's a small amount for each card. So you get a little bit of a blurb, if you like, about the card. So the Hanged Man, for example, a citizen hangs suspended in limbo. He is apathetic and feels no urgent need to alter his situation. Time around him does not stand still, however. He must free himself or his life will pass him by. And then you get the upright meanings, which is just a few keywords, and the reverse meanings, again, just a few keywords. And that's the same for the whole deck. So the suits are the same. You've got your cups, your wands, your swords, your pentacles. Your court is the same, page, knight, queen, king. It's not exactly Rider-Waite inspired. It is a Rider-Waite clone, but there are differences in the cards, as you'll see when we have a look at them. The card stock is not my favourite, I have to admit. It's a bit bendy than I like, which is funny because I really like the Everyday Witch cardstock, and it's probably no worse than that, to be fair. I do really like the backs. I do like a simple back on my tarot decks. I just, you know, nothing too fussy. I like that. They are really, really slippy, but that's because they're new and they need time to wear in a bit. So they do get, when I'm trying to, if I try and shuffle them, they get a bit slippy, slidey. But they shuffle really easily, and I think they'll be really nice for riffle shuffling as well. Size-wise, they are longer and thinner, I think, than a traditional, the size that I'm used to. So this is a Smithwaite borderless edition. This is actually one of the pictures that comes with it that I've been using as a bookmark. And compared to that, you can see that it's longer, but not quite as wide. Oh. So you've got your normal title card, which I like because, as I say, I use them as bookmarks, and I've always got so many books on the go. It's really handy for me to have a bookmark or two lying around. And then the other card is about the Deviant Moon Tarot book, which you can buy separately, and it just tells you a bit about the book itself. Sorry, just having some water. I've got a really tickly throat. And then you go straight into the cards themselves. So we'll zoom in so we can get a better look. So as I say, this isn't really my usual style. And when I did my first impressions yesterday, to be fair, I didn't have all that much to say about the cards because I was still kind of like looking at them, drinking them all in, looking at all the different things going on in the background, really getting myself drawn into how they're different, so where the changes are from what you would normally see if it was a Rider-Waite clone. And, you know, I always find it quite interesting when a tarot creator uses the Rider-Waite system but chooses not to include some of the symbology that you would expect to see in the card. And it always makes me very interested in how those decisions were made and why they chose to leave particular symbols out. Like, for example, justice has no scales. And I find that interesting, and I'd love to know the choices, the thoughts that went into the choices, and maybe that's a good reason to get the Deviant Moon Tarot book if that kind of thing is in there. So I don't have a huge amount to say about these, so I'm just going to really show them to you. I don't like this strength card, and it's a personal thing. There is nothing wrong with the strength card. It's just that I prefer my strength to be more about inner strength and confidence, and to be much more subtle than brute strength. And I'm never keen on cards that choose to depict it as brute strength. It's just a personal thing. There's nothing wrong with the artwork itself. I do like the Punch and Judy style faces on some of these characters though. Another reason why I decided to bite the bullet and kind of go ahead and get this deck is because it is so much outside of my usual style. I think that it will challenge me, and I am ready for a challenge. I kind of recognise that I'm very, very comfortable now with the Rider-Waite-Smith system. I'm very, very comfortable with the decks that I tend to choose and the decks that I tend to work with. And I am kind of at the point now where, whereas before I was still learning, now I'm at the point where I'm kind of staying inside my comfort zones. And if I want to grow as a reader, I really need to stretch myself by really pushing myself to work with those decks that aren't so easy. I think a deck that's going to challenge me, which this one really is a good way for me to expand my tarot skills. At least that's the plan, that's what I'm hoping. And as I say, if it doesn't work and I really don't connect with the deck and I really end up just not liking it, not connecting with it, not being able to read with it, then it's also a deck that I have no kind of like personal attachments to and stuff, so I would have no problem passing it on to someone else who was going to make use of it. Ugh, bugs. I hate bugs. As an artist, I actually really like his work. This is the only part of it, the only work of his that I've seen. I think there are other decks maybe out there and other places where his artwork is quite showcased, but this is the only artwork of his that I've actually seen. And as an artist, I really like his art style. Even though it's not my style, I appreciate how good it is and how intricate it is and how interesting and unique it is. And I really, really like it. So like, it doesn't completely turn me off. I really like this card. I think this card is so, I don't know, there's so much motherly love expression in that face. I think it's just lovely. I'd really like to know though, for people who do have this deck and they work with it, and those people who genuinely swear by it, connect to it, love it, think it's amazing, whatever, what is it about this deck you think that really works? And what is it that you think makes it so good to read with? Like, what has been your experience with this deck, I guess, is what I'm asking. I really like the aces in this deck. I have to say, I do really like the aces. This is the second time I've really flicked through this deck, because obviously I did it yesterday when I recorded my first video, and as I'm looking through them again, I'm just picking up more and more things that I didn't see last time. I'm being drawn more and more into the story that each card is telling. You know, I'm already starting to see why this deck could be so powerful to read with. So I've got some good feelings about this deck. I think it's going to read well. I think I'm actually going to surprise myself and really enjoy working with it. These two are probably my two favourites out of the whole deck. This one especially. There's just something about this card that it just draws me in, really draws me in, and I really, really love it. I think it's beautiful. So that's it. A very sort of not very informative or necessarily exciting ramble, but a little bit of a flip through for those of you who are interested. I will definitely, I think, once I've used the deck, come back and do a review video, because I think that I might have a lot more to say about it once I've actually used it, but we will see. Thank you very much for joining me. I think I'm going to go and edit and upload this before I lose it again, and I will see you all soon for the next one. Take care, everybody, and lots of love. Bye-bye.